Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to the Champions. Now, here's your host, former Dallas Cowboys great Preston Pearson, number 26, along with co-host Cowboys superfan Nathan Ross. Here we go.
And here we go. Welcome, everyone, to the Champions. I'm Preston Pearson, and it's been a while since I've been out here like this. I want to welcome you guys to our first ever episode. Hope you will enjoy it, and certainly hope that you will tune in for our upcoming shows. We're going to kick things off with a mission statement, if you will, just to kind of let you know what we're going to be all about through our episodes. And then I'll introduce you to my co-host, our super co-host. Anyway, we are here. Our intentions are to incorporate a collective, expansive knowledge and experiences in producing podcast episodes that provide a creative, entertaining, and educational view of former and active players and the many layers of the Dallas Cowboys football team and the National Football League. Episodes will include audio and visual elements that augment and support each segment. As episodes increase, the Champions will offer audience participation incentives such as autographed guest jerseys, footballs, helmets, photographs, tickets to sporting events, lunch or dinner with an athlete, and renewable membership in an ongoing Champions Club. Here we go. And with that, let me introduce you to my co-host. And I call him a super fan. Yeah, you're getting a good look at him right there. He is a gentleman that has been a Cowboys fan for quite some time. Again, I'm calling him a super fan, not a fanatic, a super fan that's been around for quite some time, and he has been involved with the Cowboys at the training camps. I'm not sure if he's been to Dallas to a game yet, but we're going to figure that out. Here's my super Cowboys fan, Nathan Ross. Nathan, welcome to the show. Let's get it on.
Well, thank you, Preston. It is such an honor to be your co-host. I have been a big fan of your team since the 70s, 47 years being a Dallas Cowboy fan. And I started a Dallas Cowboy fan page on Facebook called the Dallas Cowboy Family to celebrate past and present players through pictures. And it's such an exciting to be here, to be able to connect with those fans that I'm already with, and just to talk football and talk with somebody like yourself who I've watched play when I was a kid. I'm so excited, and I'm just so thankful to be here.
Well, I am excited to have you with me. Now, we got to tell this story. Nathan and I had never met one another face-to-face until about 2 weeks ago. And I ran into his website by accident, by the way, because I was looking for something revolving around the Dallas Cowboys local at the Star location. And his website popped up, and there he was. And I thought, wow, who is this guy? So I sent him a text, if you will, back to him. And so up to this point, we had never met personally. He spoke to me like a gentleman that I had known for years and years, although I had just met him. There's a certain amount of trust, I think, that goes into the way he speaks and his loyalty towards the Dallas Cowboys and certainly towards me. And I want to welcome you into being a part of the Champions podcast. Thank you.
Well, it's such an honor, like I stated, and to be with someone like you who who's been in the league for 14 years. You've been to 5 Super Bowls. You have 2 Lombardi trophies, and you are the originator of the third down specialty back. So to be able to literally be here with you is beyond amazing. And I look forward to talking football with you about past and present Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
And I'm so fired up and ready to go. And I just can't thank you enough, and I won't let you down. I just feel amazing to be here. And I'm ready to go, just like Dak says, here we go. I'm ready, here we go.
Here we go, here we go. That's
betcha.
part of our program. So here we go. And with that introduction, I'm going to introduce myself with your help. As I said earlier, I haven't done this, been involved in anything out in the public for quite some time. And I'm sure since I retired, which is over 40 years ago, that people have forgotten about me, don't really know me, don't know my past, where I've come from. So to introduce myself, reintroduce myself to my audience, we're going to go back to my beginnings in the sport back in Freeport, Illinois. So with that, Trey, if you would go ahead and start rolling a little bit of the photographs from my past. I started out in the work ethic world with a paper route. And if you can imagine a 10, 12-year-old kid carrying papers from back in the day like this early mornings, I got up before elementary school and delivered papers every day. This is the school that I went to. It's called Henny Elementary School, again, in my hometown, Freeport, Illinois. My brother and I had to walk about 3 miles to another school. In their basement, they had a basketball court. And that's where we started our athletic careers in basketball. This is a picture of the championship 1956 elementary school basketball team. There you see myself and my brother right in the middle of the picture. I'm the guy, if you're facing the photo, I'm the guy on the right. My brother is right there in the middle. His name was Rufus Jr. Again, 1956 championship team. And there you can see a little bit of where the word the champions comes from. This is my Little League baseball team. That team was also very, very good. We went to the district playoffs and had a long, good run. The head coach of that team, Mark McLemore, on the right there, went on to become mayor of the city of Freeport. All of those guys that you see in that picture, I went to high school with, junior high as well as high school. Some of them were on some of the football teams, basketball teams. Once I got out of elementary school, my brother and I kind of focused more on football, baseball, and basketball, and track and field. That's a picture of our district winning Little League team. As I said earlier, we had in Freeport, Illinois, mentors that came before us. This is a picture of the, I believe it's a 1951 high school basketball team. The 3 black players you see there were all living in my neighborhood. The one right in the middle is Deacon Davis. Deacon Davis went on to play with the Harlem Globetrotters. The second from the left player went on to play at Iowa, and Thomas Williams, number 10 there, went on to play at Iowa. So we had mentors in my neighborhood who set the example for us to do things as minorities coming out of Freeport, Illinois. There's another picture of that great team. They set the example for all of us kids growing up in Freeport, Illinois. One of the first opportunities that Adolph Rupp got as a head coach was at my high school, Freeport, Illinois. That was his first head coaching job. And as you can see there, Adolph Rupp went on to recruit many black players at the University of Kentucky, where he became famous as a head coach. He had with him certain players like Louis Dampier, and I can't even, he went to Kentucky and went on to be a player with the Lakers. Somebody help me with that name. Do you recall? Pat Riley. That's
Riley.
it.
I'm so sorry, Coach Riley. Sorry about that.
Pat Riley was one of the great players that Adolph Rupp had there. And he had some pretty good teams at Freeport as well. But he's more noted for his abilities to coach at the University of Kentucky. And, of course, you know about Kentucky now and where they are. And this is a picture of one of his great teams and some of the verbiage that went with those teams that he coached back there. As you can see, there are no black players on those teams back there. This is going way back, folks. And as I said earlier, Adolph Rupp then, when he went to University of Kentucky, recognized that player skills came from all cultures, all colors, all backgrounds. And he was first to recruit black players at the University of Kentucky. So things and times change. There's a good picture of Coach Rupp and Pat Riley.
Yes, sure is.
How about that?
You got it. Great picture.
Here's a picture of myself winning the MVP as a senior of our basketball team. Look at that hairdo there, folks. And I've got my little Letterman's jacket on there. And it's,
trophy.
Look at that trophy.
Wow.
That was a long time ago. What was that, 1966, 67, I think it was. And I haven't changed a whole lot, I guess, but, you're talking about 18, 19 years old back then. Here's a picture at the celebratory eat or sit down that we had there, and I was presented with another trophy. So you can see that culture, that championship attitude being developed in high school. Here's a picture of me. I was a center in high school at 6'2", and I could jump like some of the best jumpers in the game. And so the coach, when I grew 6 or 7 inches from my sophomore year to my senior year, they put me in there at senior as a center. And I wore the number 13 because I thought I was going to be like Wilt Chamberlain, number 13. If you old heads out there remember,
Sure
Wilt Chamberlain, I have all the honors and gratitudes that go towards that guy. He was awesome. And so I was trying to fashion myself after him. 6'2" versus 7'2", not quite the same. Anyway, I went on to win a number of awards, and years later, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years later, I was called back to Illinois, and the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association awarded me a Hall of Fame ring in basketball. And there you get a great look at a great looking ring.
Sure is. Very nice.
This is a photograph of me as a football player back at high school, at Freeport High School. Look at the helmet.
You got that Roger Staubach face mask there.
got that look.
That one bar.
Those were not leather helmets, but they weren't that far off from being pretty soft. And I can't tell you from just sitting back and thinking about how many players may have developed some brain or head problems because those helmets just didn't get the job done. Nothing like what you see in today's world. And I'm here to say this is my brother Rufus Jr. And I'm talking about that helmet.
Wow.
He was the man in high school. He was a two-time All-American. He does look like Lawrence Taylor.
No, I'm serious. With that 5'6", he looks,
Yes.
wow. With the 56 there, wow.
Look at the shoes, and it tells you how old it was. You know, we had to wear pads and all that stuff back then because it was just a totally different game than it is today. But he was awesome. He was a great athlete. Ran track. We were from the same family, two guys that went to state representing the school, and it was a total of three guys that went downstate to represent the school in track and field. He was on the baseball team. He was on the basketball team with me. But his best sport was football. He was a quarterback and a running back. And many, many schools, over 100 schools, tried to recruit him to their schools when he came out as a senior. But he was awesome. So you got to look at some of my high school days. I then was coached by this gentleman, Nate Johnson was his name. At that time, we thought he was the biggest thing in the world in terms of size. He was about 6'4", 250 pounds, and he had played pro football. Pro football at the time was not called the National Football League, but it had a different name, and he was good. He went to the University of Illinois. He was a defensive tackle, and he was a good player. Not so up on how good a coach he was, but he had control of the team, and I think it was mostly from intimidation of his size. We had good records. Here we'll show you, I'm not sure exactly where his name is listed, but it's on the All-American Football Conference, I think it was called, back in 1947 on the All-League team. And Nate Johnson is the fourth name listed down there in pro football. So he was good. He was a good player. Didn't last a lot of years, but he was a good player. And this will show you how many years he played in college, 4 years down at the University of Illinois. He was a letterman down there at that time. And then he went on to play with the New York Yankees as a football team back there. So, Nate, you got a chance to see a little bit of my background in high school and all of that. Did you play high school football, by the way?
I did. I played football my senior year. I was only 16 years old, and I played free safety. I was second-string tailback, first-string flanker on all special teams because I listened to the coach. I'd run through a wall for him anytime, and I'm always paying attention. Where other people weren't paying attention, he'd always say, "Ross, get in here." So I had a lot of fun, and I was looking at your face mask. I remember how many times people tried to hit me underneath my chin or through there. I was going to say with that face mask guard you had, a lot of hands probably got in through there, I was guessing. But yes, I did play high school football, loved it.
Well, there you go. See, you've got that background. You're not only a fan, but you have a background that says you probably know a little bit about what you're talking about. And you've been a Cowboy fan for how long? How many years?
47 years.
47 years. Okay.
Yes.
That's so how did how did we get together? Can you give the listeners out there a little perspective on how we got together?
Sure. Well, I have that Dallas Cowboy family page on Facebook. It has 90,000 followers, and I've been posting a lot of pictures to it, keep engagement, until the season starts. And I was putting up pictures, and you came and said you appreciated the page, and which was a big deal for me. Having that page and having somebody I watched as a kid and had so much respect for to come to my page, they appreciated it. And you were considering doing a podcast, and you didn't know how I could be involved necessarily, but you just said that potentially you wanted me there. And we ended up talking, and it was just a talk to, maybe just see what my page could do for you, and how can I help you, because of course I'd want to help you. And then we just talked 3 different times for 2.5, 3 hours about football, basketball, baseball, and I don't know. There's just something that connected with us through sports, and then you gave me this amazing offer, an opportunity to come on and speak sports with you, and I just couldn't pass it up, Preston. I'm so excited to be here with you, and I look forward to talking all sports with you, but Dallas Cowboy football in specific.
Well, we're going to talk about the Cowboys and the NFL and other sports as well. Okay, for the time being, let's just drop back a little bit. Let's go from my high school days into the college days. So, Trey, if you would pick up on that. Once I got out of high school, went to the University of Illinois, and there's a story about all of that. But I had a chance to go up against the great Lou Alcindor. And I say it that way out of all respect for him. And this is the guy that the basketball world on the collegiate level tried to stop people from dunking. I don't know how many people remember that, but there was a point in time there where colleges wanted to stop people from dunking, and it was because of Lou Alcindor, because he was dunking on anybody and everybody. But Lou is the reason why I was drafted into the National Football League. We happened to had gone through. Look at Lou there. The Big Ten had gone through this big to-do about a slush fund scandal. And so at the end of the day, they took 3 of our biggest players from us, and it may have been 4 or 5 players. They took all those guys from us, and they took a couple of players off of the University of Illinois football team as well. But it was called the slush fund scandal. Okay, so the week after all of this broke out in the sports world, we were to be going up to Chicago to play Lou Alcindor and that great team that they had back in the day in a game at Chicago Stadium. Okay, now remember this. Well, we'll get there. Hold on to that shot there. But when we got up to Chicago, our whole team was really depleted. We started a center that was about 6'7", named Dave Scholes, and he was a sophomore. In that game, we tried to play Lou from behind or on the side. They sat him down to begin the fourth quarter. I think he had almost 37, 38 points, but they sat him down. But before he sat down, the reason why I was drafted into the National Football League came from a block shot, that skyhook of his, that I blocked. Let me say that again.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Let me say that one more time. I got into the National Football League primarily because of a block shot on Lou Alcindor. And remember, this was a sky hook. He's already 7'2", and with a sky hook, that's got to be what, 12, 13, 14 foot to get up there?
I have in my room, yes. Kareem, yes.
Well,
And let it go of a sky hook. He was already 2 feet off the ground before he let it go. He was unbelievable.
he was an unbelievable shot, and he was an unbelievable guy. I love him to death to this very day because he did some things that I appreciated as his life went on. But we should have a shot of him getting that shot blocked, or me blocking his shot as we come up here,
right here.
going into that. And hopefully, Trey, if we can get a shot of that, it should be coming up shortly.
I think it comes up a little bit later in the display.
Okay, it'll come up a little bit later, as I'm told. But that's the reason why, or one of the reasons why I got into the National Football League. Now, you got to have some other things, too. I was a little bit mean, and at 6'2", trying to play center, even in high school, even back then, you had to have something. And I had a couple of things. I was strong. I was mean at 6'2", okay? I had hops, and I was very athletic. I was not afraid to go up against guys 6'7", 6'9". 7'2", nah, couldn't handle that. But I could handle the other guys at 6'7", 6'8", and I did. I think I averaged 20-plus points in high school, and that's why I became an all-stater and certainly got into the Illinois basketball. There it is, folks. Wow. And remember this, too.
Wow.
I'm coming down. I'm already up in the air, and I'm coming down. Look at my hand. And look at Lou. I'm up there.
Great picture.
That's the great Lou Alcindor right there, and number 25. That's me up there blocking that shot. Just wanted to point that out.
Do you think that if your team would have had those 3 players and the coaches, do you think you would have been able to match up against that UCLA
Yes.
team? What's your opinion on that?
Yes, we would have. We had the 3 guys that left all went into pro basketball. Okay, one of them was Ron Dunlap. Ron was about 6'11", almost 7 foot. He wasn't Lou Alcindor, but he was as tall as, if not pretty close to it. The other was Jones. What the heck's his name? I can't even think of his name right off the top of my head. And Steve Kuberski. Steve Kuberski was 6'8", and he went and played with the Boston Celtics. Okay, played for a little bit with Larry Bird up there with the Celtics.
One of my nemesis, Larry Bird, being born out here in Southern California.
Yes.
As a Laker fan.
This is a shot of me going up against one of the great players in college. He did go on to play in the pros. That's Jimmy Walker, folks. Jimmy Walker of West Virginia. And I'll bet a lot of folks don't know this. Jimmy Walker is the dad of Jalen Rose.
I did not know that. What
Yes.
great info. I did not know that.
Jalen
What a good
Rose.
player Jalen was.
Yeah. Remember the Fab Five?
I sure do.
Yeah.
And he played against my Lakers in, I believe, Indiana in the championship in 1999-2000. So,
Oh,
good
look at
basketball
that.
player.
Look at that. Nathan, look at that.
Wow.
Who would that be?
Man, wow.
That's yours
You look
truly.
strong, too. Look at that. You were put together ready for some battle. There's no doubt about that.
Yes,
Especially
sir.
being a defensive style of player. You have to
Yeah.
body people and put your body on people.
Yes.
And it looks like you're ready to do that.
That was my biggest trait right there. And a lot of guys that I guarded, I always guarded the opponent's best, biggest player outside of the center position. And some guys, like, for example, Cazzie Russell. I had to go up against Cazzie Russell. Cazzie was, 6'5", 6'6", and once Cazzie saw me versus Michigan, Cazzie thought, oh, well, okay, I'll take him down low, post him up, and beat him up down there. Well, that's what I did. I was a center in high school, and you had to be strong and sturdy and mean to do that. So Cassie walked right into my wheelhouse when he wanted to take me down low. And in fact, we beat Cassie in that great team that they had in Michigan. So we had some players, and I think I held him to like 18 points, something like that. No, Cassie was a great player. He was a great player.
Right.
I did hold him down. I can't recall exactly how many points he got, but we won the game. So that was the most important thing there. I guarded some guys like Rick Mount, Cassie Russell. We were just behind that great Ohio State team that featured Jerry Lucas and Havlicek and that group of guys. We were behind them, so we missed having to get entangled with those guys. But that was the reason, or those were the reasons why I was drafted into the National Football League by the Baltimore Colts and Don Shula. Should I say that again? Don Shula drafts a guy from the University of Illinois who played basketball, did not play any football in college at all. I did have a chance to watch some great football players at the University of Illinois. Dick Butkus, one of the greatest ever.
Later on and
I met
against later in your career.
I did. I tried to stay as far away from Dick Butkus as I could. Now, that was a mean man. Dick was a
he as
mean,
good as they
mean.
said, because you've seen him, was he as good in college as people talk about?
I think he was probably better in college. I had a chance to watch those guys play at several games because I had obtained a job at the stadium selling magazines. Yeah, I have to say it again. Say it again. I had a job at the stadium, the football stadium at the University of Illinois, and was able to watch some great football players. University of Illinois back then, when Butkus played, they were awesome. Very good football team, offensively and defensively. And I had a chance to mingle with a lot of the football players in the dorm that we stayed in, so I got to know some of those guys. So it was another big influence. The reason why I was working at the stadium is just trying to earn a little extra money. And so the guys that are benefiting now from the NIL thing that's going on in college sports right now, they could not imagine what we went through back in the day, just trying to get something to eat, have a little extra money to go do different things, buy some shoes or go get something to eat. Because when we practiced, most of the time during the season, when you got home from the practice field to try to get in line to get something to eat, the line was closed. So you had no place to go to grab something to eat. And you had no money. You had no money. So what do you do? That's why a lot of guys got in trouble. Things happen.
Do you think that the players nowadays, are you glad for college players that they are getting the NIL? Do you think that it's about time, or
Yes.
do you think that? Okay, good.
It is about time. They should have been doing something like this a long time ago, because regardless of the scholarship monies that are going out to these guys, you need more than that. There's more things that happen outside of what they do on the football field or basketball court. And listen, that money that they're bringing in for those sports at those colleges is millions of dollars. Come on, let's be honest about this.
And the video games too. Yeah.
and the video game. That's right.
True. Very, very true.
You nailed that one.
Yep,
So-
I played it. I'm sorry, I'm an older guy, but I love my sports. I am telling you, I love sports. So, but yeah, I totally agree with that. Their names out there, they should be paid for it. I could agree with that.
Well, hopefully it won't get out of hand, because anytime there's money involved, there's always somebody trying to find a way to get around it or under it or over it, to take advantage of it. And it's probably going on right now. We just haven't been made privy to it. But hopefully the people that are in control, that are there trying to oversee these things, are there and trying to come up with other rules and regulations that will eliminate some of that underhanded stuff that goes on.
Nice. Very nice.
Okay. So where were we here? That's college level. So I get drafted, and there's a story behind getting drafted. I was approached by a guy named L.G. Dupree, who was a former player with the Baltimore Colts and with the Dallas Cowboys. See how all of these little things are coming together, and things that happen beforehand lead to either the league or the team that I'm involved with, or the people that I surrounded myself with. So we get into being drafted. I was a 12th round draft choice. They don't have 12 rounds anymore, okay? I think they only have 8 rounds. But I was a 12th round draft choice, and the guy who came over to my fraternity at the time was L.G. Dupree, Louis Dupree. Came over to my fraternity house and said to me in his introduction, you've been drafted by the Baltimore Colts. Can you set aside a little time to come over to the stadium and talk to Don Shula? And I'm like that. I'm like, what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
You want me to do what? Huh? And I'm thinking, pro football? Are you crazy? You want me? I sat there for a second or two, and then I decided, okay, maybe I should go over there with L.G. Dupree and talk to Don Shula. So I get over there. It was over at the football stadium. Get over there and get on the phone, and Coach Shula says, hey, Preston, how you doing? You've been drafted by the Baltimore Colts. You think you can make it out here?
I'm shocked to hear, to be on the phone with Don Shula. I mean, that
was.
must have been, yes, sir. Yes, that must have been amazing.
I was shocked out of my shoes. And here's the most amazing part of this. Being from Illinois, being on the border between Illinois and Wisconsin, you would think I would be both a Chicago Bear fan and or a Green Bay Packer fan. Well, I was kind of a Bear fan living in Illinois. You can't quite get away from that. But I was not a Green Bay Packer fan, although I had met several of the Packer players from yesteryear prior to that. But here's the thing about being drafted by the Colts. The Colts were my team. I rooted for them in that famous game that was seen by the world in the early stages against the New York Giants when they won the Super Bowl. I guess it was called the Super Bowl at that time. Maybe it was called the championship game at that time. But I rooted for the Baltimore Colts. I rooted for Johnny Unitas. I rooted for Lenny Moore and all those guys. And once I got drafted, and I was drafted I was drafted in the same group to the Baltimore Colts as the great Bubba Smith.
Wow. What a player. What an actor, too. I mean,
yes.
He played everything, but what a wow. Great player.
Bubba was the number 1 overall draft choice in that year. And who can forget the game that they played against Notre Dame when they were shouting, "Kill Bubba, kill," from Michigan State? I had a chance to be in the room when all of the rookies came in, and Bubba was so big. I mean, this is 6'8", 6'9" ish in that area.
I wasn't even thinking he was that big. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, and just big, wide. That's what I'm talking about. Not 6'9", tall, but 6'9", big, wide guy. And he talked like
Too Tall Jones. Were they compare? What did they compare like? Was he the same type of player, Preston?
Yes, pretty much. Ed was a little slimmer. I think Bubba weighed about 290, 295. Ed was about 265, 270, somewhere in that area, slimish. But both were awesome guys. And here you get a chance to look at one of the greatest coaches ever, in Coach Don Shula. I believe that shot is after he was with the Miami Dolphins, and they won that 17 games, undefeated, I guess, for 17 games. But that was him. Here's a shot of me in my first game. A lot of people don't know this too, that I was on the taxi squad. No, not too many people know what a taxi squad is. It's kind of like a reserve unit group of guys. The only difference is when you were on a taxi squad back then, your salary was also cut. Now, remember this too. My first contract was for $15,000. I received a bonus of $1,000. Let me say it again. $15,000 base contract with a $1,000 bonus. I was also led to believe that one of the Cowboys greats didn't receive much more than that either. Bob Lilly, I believe, only received about $15,000 or $20,000 as a base salary. Now we're going back for years now. This is going way back, 1967. What is that? 50 years ago. But this is my first touchdown after I was activated off the roster. That's one of my first headshots in the National Football League. Wow, look at that. Youngster,
I bet you were excited. I bet you were excited, Preston.
I was excited out of my mind. Once I got past training camp and heard the kind of hitting that was going on, especially amongst the linemen. If anybody has ever read my book, there's a portion there where I talk about my first few days in training camp. And if you had ever got a chance to go to training camp at a pro football arena, the sound that comes from linemen hitting linemen, to me, it sounded like rifle shots or somebody shooting off a gun. When the helmets hit, it was like a rifle shot, and it scared the hell out of me. I mean, it scared me, and being a football or a basketball player coming into pro football, I was already scared going out there. And here's another thing about my first couple of days with the Baltimore Colts. My number was 26. Just down the aisle from me was a guy that I had idolized. He wore black high-top shoes, and he talked with kind of a drawl all the time. And he wore number 19, and it was Johnny Unitas.
Legendary quarterback you played with.
Yeah. And here I am, snot-nosed rookie, looking at the guy that I had idolized, and here he is putting on his outfit and stuff 2 or 3 or 4 guys down the row from me. I started shaking. What am I doing here?
Was he good to you, Preston? Was he
oh,
good
yeah.
to you? Did he welcome you in?
Everybody on the pro level was awesome to me. Guys like Lenny Moore, oh man, awesome. One of the other guys that I learned so much from was pretty much like me. He might have been a little slower. Raymond Berry. I got a story I got to tell you about Raymond Berry and what I learned. When we were there in camp, he was in the meeting rooms studying his playbook. And I saw him write something down in the playbook. And so I just kind of eased over behind him and took a look at what he was writing down there. And it was a couple of letters. And I thought it was a radio station or something. But he had WBIH. And I'm going, I wrote it down, WBIH. Is that a radio station? What is that?
Wow.
So I later learned that Raymond Berry is one of these guys that was a perfectionist. He was a perfectionist. You just think about it. Go back and look at some of his routes. His routes, perfect, perfection. You know, this many steps here, turn your head there. Raymond Berry was a perfectionist when it came to that. And WBIH simply meant watch ball in hands.
Great.
Just
great
think about
advice.
that.
Wow.
Learn so
Great
much
knowledge.
from
I read that from your book, man. Unbelievable what knowledge that he gave to you and that you studied from him. That is so smart that you picked one of the best at that time frame.
Yeah.
Him and Johnny U were the connection. What a smart thing to do, Preston.
I had some great teachers in my early years in the game. Lenny Moore, I mentioned him before. Tom Matty was there. Timmy Brown was there.
Corny? Is there one of your friends, Corny? I forgot his last name.
Corny Johnson, Cornelius
Yes.
Johnson, guard was there. Charlie Stukes was my roommate for a while. He was a high draft choice during that period of time. There were so many people that I can refer back to that helped me get off on the right foot with the right team. You know,
Yes, sir.
starting out with Baltimore with Coach Shula. And guess who was my position coach? I was drafted as a defensive back there, and so I played safety and corner.
I got to guess.
But my position coach back there was the guy that traded for me when he left and went to Pittsburgh,
Yes, sir.
Chuck Noll.
Yes, sir.
So now you can see the picture developing here. In my third year, I left the Baltimore Colts and went to Pittsburgh in a trade. Ray May was the player that came from Pittsburgh to Baltimore. He had a pretty good career with Baltimore, or with the with the Baltimore Colts. And Chuck Noll was my position coach up there, and everybody knows what he did with Pittsburgh, turned that whole organization around into a four-time championship winning Super Bowl team. There's a picture of Joe Gilliam, and the man in the middle is Bradshaw and Noel on the right. And I have to say this before we get out of here, is that between the two quarterbacks that you see right there, in the early years, the best of those guys was number 17, Joe Gilliam. Terry Hanratty was also there in Pittsburgh. So that's three great quarterbacks that Chuck Noll had to choose from. And the best one in the early years was Joe Gilliam. Very gregarious, outgoing guy. And Joey ran into some problems later on in his life with drugs and was found living in a box. And his whole life was turned upside down. Joey's no longer with us, but he was a great, small, skinny quarterback that could sling it. Here you have a shot of me in a Pittsburgh uniform. Yeah, I was fortunate to maintain the number 26 throughout my entire career from every team that I played with.
Great number.
A great number. It's a great look right there. Here's a
Look at
shot
those
too.
uniforms. That's wow.
Yeah.
They're all whites. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool outfit right there.
You bet.
There's Coach Noel in celebration of one of those Super Bowls. Art Rooney Sr. right there. Great man. That whole Rooney organization and family, good people. When I left the team or when they released me from the team, Art Rooney Jr. sent me a letter that was awesome, and I'll never forget it. He made reference to my being a part of the team after they had suffered like 48, 49 years of being bad teams, bad coaches, and the whole city was against them. But he made reference to the fact that I had helped them turn that organization and the team's fortunes around.
That's
Here
a
you got a
compliment from him.
yeah. Oh, it was huge. Like I said, that whole family was awesome to me, and I really enjoyed the times that I was there. I really did not want to leave there, but you know what? Leaving there was probably the greatest stroke of positivity for me in my life to this day, because I had a chance for me to talk to 3 different teams that wanted me to come down and visit with them. The first of those teams was the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow. Well, Gil Brandt called you, right?
Gil Brandt was the man on the phone that I talked to, and I decided that I'm going to go ahead and leave one of my favorite people from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Joe Green.
Wow. What a legendary player.
A legend in his own right, and everybody else's right. He's a Texas boy. Still lives, I believe, nearby Dallas. So,
Was he a Cowboy fan growing up? Do you know by chance, Preston, or from Texas, or?
I would like to think so, but you never know. This is a big state. I'm not sure exactly.
Yes.
I think he's from Temple originally, so I'm not sure about that.
Gotcha. Maybe
But
someone
Joe's
can ask
still-
him one day.
He's still one of my favorite people. And
I bet.
these guys here, Bradshaw, Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, Dwight White, Lynn Swan, all of those guys were there when I played under Coach Chuck Noll. And we had an awesome team.
Legendary players.
This gentleman right here is from the Roberto Clemente group from the Pittsburgh Pirates, number 21. The Steelers, when his plane went down, when he was trying to deliver food supplements to the people of Puerto Rico, his plane went down. And the plane went down in the sea, and we were on his home balcony looking out at the spot where his plane went down. But the Steeler organization chose me to represent the Steelers to go down there with a couple of other players, Doc Ellis from the Pirates, to represent the Steelers at his memorial. And I'll never forget that. Yes, I'll never forget that. That was an honor.
Preston.
And
Yes, sir.
this gentleman, Roberto Clemente, was all class.
And
So
what a player too, Preston. How good of a player was he? I mean, he
Oh,
was fantastic from what I heard and saw. Unbelievable.
he was an awesome player and an awesome gentleman. And I can't say a whole lot about him. Here's a shot that I have to show you this. This is the Immaculate Reception. Franco Harris, one of the people that love to talk about. Unfortunately, Franco's no longer with us. He passed away, I think it was several days. Oh, that's definitely a catch. I was on the sideline there, so I know that was a catch.
And the angle, it just shows Franco has a lot more speed than people think because the safeties had an angle to try to get him. All they had to do was push him out of bounds, and he was able to still outrun those safeties that had the better angle. So what a play by Franco. What a legendary play.
Yes, and there's a shot of him, Hall of Fame bust right there. And you know what? Our time has just flown by here. We don't have enough time to really get into where I really wanted to get with the Steelers to the Cowboys. Trey, if we can jump real quick to the Cowboys, and I wanted to show my 3 touchdowns if at all possible. That's Cornell Green, the man that brought me into the Cowboys. I idolized Bullet Bob Hayes, and of course, this gentleman here, he's on the cover of a sport magazine, was the Cowboys. Yeah.
My football hero.
He was one of the greats. This is Coach Landry and some of the players in that first Super Bowl win of theirs.
Right. Yeah.
And here is one of the greatest plays in one of the greatest games ever played by the Dallas Cowboys. And this is a play beforehand. And, of course, the Vikings scored on this thing here. But this was all about Hail Mary, folks. And in that game, I, too, had a great game. That's one of my receptions right there. We're going to try to get through these pretty quickly. That's Doug Dennison.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this is another pass. This pass right here, that's the one that got my face and body on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Right there in your book. Right there.
This is the play that nobody thinks of. This is the play before Hail Mary. But this is Hail Mary right here. This was a chilling moment, not only for Drew and Roger, but all of us players on the sideline. I mean, a chill went down your spine.
Oh, I can only imagine. Wow.
You know.
People are saying that this was pass interference. There's no pass interference here.
There's no pass
Preston
interference.
Just goes back for the ball, absolutely not. And it looks like there's a flag thrown somewhere here, but
that's an orange. There it is.
Yes.
See that little? It was an orange that came from the stands. The people up there were quite pissed off. But
oh, here we go. Here's your touchdowns.
Here's my 3 touchdowns against the Rams in the next game. Personally, I thought this was our biggest game because it was the championship game. This was a screen pass, and yours truly was awesome. I was awesome in this game.
Yes,
I have to say so
nice
myself.
Missed block. Yeah, missed tackle. Thank goodness.
That was the first one.
Great play.
That was the first one right there, and needless to say, I was excited about that myself right there.
I bet. I'm fired up still right now about it. Awesome.
I'll tell you what. But this next one, I believe it's the next one coming up. This play will stay in my mind forever and ever and ever. Can we turn that sound up just a little bit because the guy who's talking, listen to this.
Oh, love it.
Oh, man, I tell you, I'm getting chilled right now.
I love this catch.
Look at that! Oh!
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You reached out for that, boy.
Yeah, buddy.
Dallas at 21
yes, you did.
to nothing halftime bulge.
21 nothing at halftime right now.
Yeah, buddy. You talk about being happy.
Speak well of Dallas's decision to pluck him off the waiver list.
Honestly,
The only Cowboy ever to
effort.
play for another NFL team.
Preston.
Pearson certainly has earned his Royal
I'm not-
Blue Star. The prehensile-handed
Drew.
running back accounted for 79
Yep.
yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half, spurring on the Cinderella Texans to an eye-opening lead.
Now, were
In a
you guys
game that many
underdogs this
thought the
one, or you were
Cowboys
supposed to win this real fast, Preston? Were you
No,
guys
no.
underdogs this game?
We were big-time underdogs. And this is the shovel pass. Nobody
Oh, the
really
shuttle.
uses the shovel. I think they call it. Is it shovel or shuttle? I'm not sure. Whatever it
Shuttle
was.
pass. Either one would go, yeah.
It was a perfectly called play, and that's where you talk about Tom Landry. He was so good. He was so good at calling plays at the right time, and this one got him. Watch the defensive end here. He's going to go after Staubach. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is the diving catch.
Boy, that was pretty. That was pretty. Wow.
I was a little happy there.
So you had 2 diving catches in that same
No,
game?
no. This is just.
That's the first
I think
one.
this is just a replay. I think I included that.
And look
Watch
at that
watch this
ran.
dive. Ah!
Preston, you dove about 10 yards, 15 yards in the air. I mean, your athleticism right there is off the charts. Unbelievable play right there. Jeez. Is that Jerry Rome right there? I think Jerry.
No. Rome wasn't on the team at that time.
Okay, gotcha.
But plays like that, it takes me all the way back to those basketball days, to elementary school, and that's what I was trying to get across. And even in that Hail Mary game, Drew gets all the credit because of that 50-yarder. But guess what? Who was on the cover of Sports Illustrated? Because of that game, and because I did some good things. I was the leading pass receiver in that game. I had more yards than Drew had. I was equal to Robert Newhouse and Doug Dennison in rushing yards. So I should have gotten something, and that's what I got. I got the cover of Sports Illustrated. But to this day, Hail Mary with Drew and Roger, they get all the credit for that game. Nothing against them at all. But I should get some credit. Whoa, who that?
Okay, what's going on here?
I think this
that
is.
a linebacker or a running back? That
That's-
might be a defensive end. I don't know.
Who included that in there? I think that's after my playing days. That was a Superstars event. This happens to be a Dallas Cowboys representation in the, I think it was the Dallas or the NFL alumni golf tournament. And my group of guys, I think it was 4 or 5 of us, I was the captain of the team. We won it over in Hawaii. So I've got some hardware.
Man, you're competitive
so-
too. You seems like if you go do a game, you're going to want to win it. So I like that. That's awesome, Preston.
Growing up, like I said, my brother and I, we tried to play all sports. We were involved in basketball. We tried to play golf. We would just ball up a sock. We didn't have clubs. I mean, parents weren't able to do that, certainly for golf. We would ball up a pair of socks as tight as possible and then go chop down something off of a tree that had a little hook on it. That was our golf club. And we dig a little hole somewhere out in the yard area. That was our putting area. That was our golf. So
Man, I love kids and the way we just can make things happen, like that. That's pretty awesome, Preston.
Yeah, we were not a middle class family, but we had enough. Parents worked all the time. My dad went to work something like 50 years straight. I don't think he missed a day. I don't think he missed a day of work for like 50 plus years.
And it went 50 miles both ways, if I read that right.
That's correct. It went down.
Right.
My hometown was about 22, 23 miles away from his work job, place called Gunite Foundry. He worked in a steel foundry. And they drove down there, they being his associates. They jump in a car and drive down together and back and forth to Rockford every day for 50 plus years. And you know what? I have a grudge to Gunite. When my father finally retired, they gave him I think it was a cup. They gave him a cup for his retirement. A watch or I don't know, something more than that would have been better, don't you think? For 50 plus years.
I do agree with that, Preston. I totally agree with that. After 50
That's
years,
life.
yes.
That's the way it is.
But you know, he was a wonderful man. Sounds like he worked hard for you and your family. And actually, it sounded like he missed some of the games because of his hard work. So, I mean, just it sounds like a fantastic, hard-working father.
Yeah. He did, and my dad, he wasn't able to get to. Well, my dad got to one game, and that was against the Chicago Bears when I was with Pittsburgh. My mother never got to any games. They never were able to attend any high school or junior high or any of that. So there was only one game that my dad was able to get to. But we knew he loved us. We knew that. And an example of that, if I can do this real quickly, of his love came when I was really young. And I had that paper route that we started with. It was a very snowy Illinois morning. And I was dragging around trying to regret the moment that I was going to have to get out of the house in that cold, snowy morning with that load on my back trying to deliver papers in my neighborhood. Remember, this is all before school started. But my dad saw this, and this is before he had to go to work, okay? My dad saw that I was having difficulty getting myself ready to do that. And he knew it was going to be a difficult trek because of the bag, the load, and the snow. So my dad simply said, "Give it to me." He picked up the bag, put it on his shoulders, not over his head, but put it on his shoulders, and he trekked around the neighborhood with me, delivering papers that morning. I knew my dad loved me at that moment. I knew that. So it was never a question.
It sounds just like that. Great story. Absolute nice story, Preston.
Well, I appreciate that. Nate, going to give you the last word here on our first episode. We're hoping to be able to come back for a long time, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to go ahead and close this thing out for us. We're going to be looking for our viewers to tune us in next week, same time, 3 o'clock. Central Standard Time, and take us out.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome, Preston, to be a part of the Champions Podcast. Remember, all of our listeners, they can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're going to get out all the streaming. You know, this is our very first episode. We're just so excited to even do more with you guys, and so we'll be staying with you guys. And Preston, thank you so much for having me on your show on this amazing Champions Podcast, and I can't wait to go through more shows with you, and I can't thank you enough. It's just been a pleasure and an honor to be here, and I'm just so excited about the future with you.
Well, you're on, partner. And shall we say our departing words together? You know what they are. Ready? On two, on three. 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
Here we go.